Hey everybody, this is Jack. I'm going to make some wine today, so thought I'd show you guys how I did it. Going to make some strawberry wine. Had a few requests, people want to see how I did it, and so I thought I'd show you guys. All I'm going to do basically is just show you how to, press the fruit and everything, and set it up in the primary fermenter and get it started. I'm not an expert, just an amateur. Really don't, claim to really know a whole lot about it, but I can make some wine, so hopefully you can learn what not to do, or maybe pick up some things that might be helpful to you. So here we go. Alright, we've got our strawberries here in the sink, thawed out. These are homegrown strawberries here. Got them in the freezer. It takes about, well, I got a recipe here for 1 gallon, and it takes about 3.5 pounds per gallon. So I'm making 3 gallons. So this recipe is going to have to triple everything. But we've got everything else laid out we need. We got yeast nutrient, acid blend, wine tannin, pectin enzyme, Camden tablets, all that stuff you can get at a wine shop or order on the internet. So anyway, first thing we're going to do is get some regular old white sugar here. We're going to measure it out and put it in a pan, put a little bit of water in it, heat it up till it dissolves, and we'll let it sit there and cool while we're doing our other stuff. Alright, got the sugar on the stove. I'm going to let it dissolve, add a little bit of water to it. I like to take my water and measure it out in a, you can use, they say buy spring water. I just use water right out of the tap, but I've got one of these gallon water jugs there. I like to use that to measure, my water, so I'll have my 3 gallons, because you're putting fruit and you're putting sugar and stuff in there. It's going to displace the 3 gallons a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to let that cook down. Later I'm going to check it with a hydrometer. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of sugar per gallon, so I only put 5 pounds in there because I'm going to check it later. I can always add sugar because your fruit has its own natural sugars in it. Some fruit, one bag may be sweeter than another bag, so you want to check it. You don't want to overdo it, too much alcohol or not enough alcohol. So we'll get that here in a little bit. Using a 5-gallon plastic bucket here is my primary fermenter. The key to wine making is cleanliness. Sterilization. I've washed this bucket. I only use it just for wine only. I've washed it with bleach, and then there's a cleaning solution somewhere around here. Some stuff here called Sea Bright. Put it in there, rinse it out. There's some stuff I used to use called One Step. I really liked it. I think I'm going to buy some more One Step later. But you want to sterilize everything. Your hydrometers, your everything, every instrument that touches your wine, you want to sterilize. Any kind of bacteria or anything getting there can ruin your batch. Okay, yeah, it looks like a bunch of slop. Looks kind of gross, but it's not. It smells pretty good. Just strawberries. I dumped them out of the bag. This is I got a mesh liner, or not a liner, it's a mesh bag. I got it rubber banded here on this 5-gallon bucket, but I dumped all the strawberries in this mesh bag, and I'm going to take it, tie it up now, and we're going to squeeze the juice. All the berries and stuff are going to be in that bag. We're going to tie a knot in it. We're going to squeeze the juice out of that bag into this bucket. Okay, I got the knot tied in the top of it there. Like I say, there's the berries in there. Some of the juice already come out. These mesh bags, you can get them at the wine supply store or on the internet somewhere. Any wine supply outfit ought to have them. But anyway, we're going to squeeze this juice out as much as we can. You're still going to have pulp and stuff in that bag. You ain't going to get it all out. But alright, you just want to pressure down there. Basically get all the solid fruit out of there, and just crush all the solid fruit inside that bag. All you're going to be left with is a bunch of pulp. But we got the main juice out of there now, so now we're going to add the water and the other ingredients to it. Alright, I went ahead and took some wine out of there with a thief, and this thing here is called a hydrometer. The hydrometer in there. What we're checking for here is specific gravity, and it's going to tell you your potential alcohol level by when it's finished. Right now we're looking at about 9% alcohol. And you always want to check your specific gravity on here. too, and you know, your recipes will tell you, you know, what you're looking for. But you know, I'm at about 9% alcohol. I usually like my wine a little bit stronger than that, but I think with this strawberry I'm just going to stick to 9. But if we wanted it stronger, we could put a little bit more sugar in there. We're just going to leave it at 9 right now. How this thing works is the water or the sugar displaces the hydrometer. It just floats in there up and down, you know, so that your sugar is what tells you your specific gravity and your potential alcohol. Alright, I've already went ahead and added my ingredients there to the wine, so basically everything's pretty much done. I need to put a Camden Tablet in there. These are kind of important. They kill any kind of yeast or any kind of bacteria that might be in your fruit already that can harm your wine yeast that you're going to put in there later. These things look just like little pills. They're pretty soft. I just take them, break them up with your finger and sprinkle them in there. Stir that stuff up. And what I'm going to do is I cover this with I got a special towel I always use just for winemaking, and I got a rubber band I put around the bucket. And a lot of guys put the lid on there with the airlock or whatever. I don't do that because I always end up blowing the lid off of it. So anyway, that's how I do it. I'm going to let this sit for about a day or so, about 24 hours with that Camden Tablet in there, and let it do its thing. And then we're going to put some wine yeast in there. And I say in about 24 hours I'm going to take this packet of wine yeast and cut it open. You're just going to sprinkle it in there on top of everything. And every day you want to stir this. You want to take that mesh bag and stir it up and kind of press it and poke at it and get all the stuff out of it. And you're going to keep checking this with your hydrometer. And when you get your specific gravity down to about 1.03, you take that off. We're going to put it in a glass secondary. That's your glass secondary carboy here. This big glass 3-gallon jug basically. Like I say, when you're at about usually 3 or 4 days, 5 days, when your specific gravity goes down, that's when you want to put it in your secondary. Here's some blackberry I got growing. And then you got a rubber bung there and an airlock you put in it. And it'll go through here and bubble up, and that's your gases coming out. Some of you probably don't know it, but you know, some people have never made wine or whatever don't understand. Your yeast eats the sugar, and the more sugar in it, the higher your alcohol is going to be, because the more of the sugar that the yeast ate. Basically the alcohol is the byproduct of what the yeast eats. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, y'all. Hope you learned something from it. Tea Manly, there's a blueberry recipe in here. Never made blueberry, but pretty much the same deal here. You get a little bit different ingredients, but thanks everybody for watching, and happy drinking.